You are listening to Radio Ramadan 365 podcasts.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, Shaykh Saab.
Wa alaikum assalam, Sajjad Saab. How are you?
So, we're covering your book, Zawia Discourses. We'll go straight on to chapter 16 and incorporate it within this series. So the path of the Bukhara leads out of the city. To be a faqir is to pursue the divine encounter. And there's a lot of fact into that statement. Would you tell us more about what do you mean by that?
We live our day-to-day lives as citizens, as kind of people, with the assumption that we have relationships with others, and that these relations are fundamentally reciprocal in character. So I behave nice with them, they behave nice with me, and then life continues. What isn't apparent to me very often is that the people that I'm dealing with are puppets in the hands of a puppeteer. That actually the real being that I'm engaging with is with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He's the intelligence that I'm dealing with on a day-to-day basis. And the people that that I have an engagement with are basically playing a role in order for me to become more and more aware of him and his genius and his divine guidance in my life. You know. So basically, my whole life is an engagement with him, but it's a veiled engagement, and I don't realize that that's an engagement with him. On our path, the path of the fakir is one that says, I'm not interested in the shadow show. I'm not interested in how things appear. I'm interested in how things are. I want to start seeing the hands of the puppeteer. I'm not just interested in getting enchanted by the puppets. So that's what I mean by the divine encounter. I want to recognize who really is in charge of my life and about the world that gets presented to me. And not just the social drama of it.
The worldview of the citizen is founded on a lie. You may already have alluded to this, but it seems to go against everything good upright people want to believe, is it not?
Allah is, if you think metaphorically, Allah encompasses the stars, the oceans, the mountains, the other end of the universe. He encompasses all of it. It falls within the ambit of his embrace. It is all within his nature. In other words, that which is fundamentally wild and vast and dangerous are all attributes of his nature. That's the reality. Now, we, as human beings, find that reality, the reality of the wild, the reality of the overwhelming, the reality of the vast, of the terrifying. We cannot live in the face of that. In order for us to live a life, we have to take that thing and we have to build walls between us and it. And those walls are the walls of the city. But I'm talking about the city metaphorically. So between us, we create this apparent reality, which is the reality of our of our community, the walls of our city, within which we try and make the world a little bit more predictable, a little bit less arbitrary and terrifying. You know, if I behave good, then you will behave good with me. And so we have this relationship of trade where we try and take that which is an experience of the vast and overwhelming and break it down into something that is manageable and small, and we keep our attention down to that. You go and have a negotiation with the next crop failure. You go and insist that the next major storm that's going to flatten off the city should play nice. You know, so all of these big attributes, which are expressions of his nature, these aren't things that are open to negotiation. These aren't things you can have a contract with. These are, they are outside of the contractual. The real reality is so vast, is so overwhelming, it is outside of the contractual. It is outside of what you can negotiate. It is outside of the patterns of reciprocal relationships that we engage into in order to make life work. In that sense, fundamentally, reality is unmanageable. It is bigger. It is bigger than what you can contain. So we create a sense of community. We create a sense of good behavior. We create the walls of the city so that we can continue, because otherwise we couldn't have children. We teach them how to be. We have to teach people to be people. Nobody's born a person. A person is taught their personhood by their culture, by their community, and so on. And the reason why we invest in them like that is that they can then invest in the next generation like that. But all of that is a big collusion to keep the walls of the city going. And the walls of the city are, by definition, about keeping the overwhelming nature of the vast, which is beyond the walls of the city, out. Protecting ourselves from that reality, which is the real reality. Which is the reality, which, by the way, will triumph, because he tells us in the Quran, look at the cities of those who went before. See what happens to them. Which community has, in the fullness of time, withstood the overbearing weight of the looming annihilation, which is the nature of his reality. So we are all busy with this game of being civilized and of staying safe, as a distraction from this impossible scale of this vast reality which looms over us.
Is it impossible to achieve the highest of your own spirit, to reap the benefit of the divine encounter, if you seek to be a good person? Most folk think that what religion is all about. Is it wrong to think that?
Yeah, but you must be very careful how you frame this, eh? I'm not suggesting that you should therefore be a bad person. I'm not suggesting that morality is irrelevant. All that I'm saying is that morality is not good enough. You can do all the right things, and still you can do all the right things with people. You can pay all your dues. You can attend all the club meetings, do everything you're supposed to do in your community, pay the zakat, do all the right things, and at the same time not have a clue of what it feels like to be silent and completely stripped of any defense between yourself and existence. In other words, not have any clue of how to die. So I'm not suggesting that we have license to be bad people and then become hostile to being good citizens. I'm saying it's a secondary part of our nature. It's not the primary part of our nature. It's the part of our nature that steps into the world and engages other people. But the primary part of our nature is the thing that is on this side of perception that never steps into the world but watches the world. You know, that part of our nature is goes beyond just being a good person. That part of our nature is about seeing the divine reality, experiencing, seeing firsthand how the whole of our life is in fact orchestrated by the same vast reality that caused a supernova to blow up. That's a perceptual sort of skill. I mean, experiencing that, you know, that you can be as good as you like. You're not going to achieve that inside that experience. That experience is achieved by learning how to not talk. You see, I mean, if you're saying being a good person, what does that mean? That means engaging others, being in converse and congress with others. You know, it's like being part of the conversation. But there's a part of you which isn't part of the conversation. There's a part of you which is learning how to profoundly shut up. When you're no longer engaging other people, no longer doing the right thing, you're just watching, seeing. And in order to find that part of your nature, you actually have to withdraw. You have to step out of your engagement with people. You've got to metaphorically leave the city. You know, find your cave, find the place where in the wilderness where you are not entertained by the language of others and the discourse with others.
So you talk about having to crawl out the city, not being able to walk out. What's your point here? Are you saying, are we going to be resisted?
So, but I do think that's true. You don't. Any person who is self-consciously unconventional is picking a fight. They are designed to make you conventional. They are, you will conform. So if you self-consciously try and make this big sort of display about how different you are and how unconventional you are and how they are designed to cut you back to size. That's what they're going to do. They're going to smack you back into behind the walls. You don't try and strut your way out of the city, sort of like Lord Muck, and show how independent you are of them. They are far cleverer than you, and there's many of them, and you're only one. They will make you comply. They will lasso you and bring you back in chains until you, by the sweat of your brow, earn your usefulness to them. So how do you escape this terrifying domination of conventional kind of life? Well, you do it by subterfuge.
Yeah.
You go to all the weddings you're supposed to go to. You smile at the people you're supposed to smile at. You drink tea with who you're supposed to drink tea with. You do all of that, and in secret, your life is elsewhere. In secret, you're spending a lot of your time in Maraqabah, in the wilderness, on your own. You are leopard. You're not just crawling out of the city. You are leopard crawling out of the city. You know what that is, eh? It's not crawling on all fours. It's crawling on elbows, like you sneak out. They don't let you out. They're not supposed to let you out. They're not designed to allow you to let. They can't afford to let you to get out. They are programmed. They are programmed to insist on compliance. So this is why Halaj got lost his head, you see. I mean, they just, Al-Halaj, Mansur Al-Halaj, Al-Haq, they cut off his head because he was just too noisy about it. You can't make a noise about this. You can't go and undermine the good order of things by claiming your own personal connection with the divine. Who on earth do you think you are? We're all struggling here, and we're struggling by trying to be good people. Now you think you somehow of the select. What's this? They can't afford for you to be the select. They won't have you be the select. They can't. It is their job to make you comply. So if you're very serious about your tasawwuf, you aren't very explicit about it.
Yes, sir, that concludes chapter 16. Thank you so much. Until the next chapter. Assalamu alaikum. Astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah.